So you may have noticed we had a significant number of new friends subscribe to this channel. We're probably just as blown away as you are. We spent a day, or two, celebrating these new milestones and just wanted to take a moment to thank all of you, new and old viewers, who have made this such a special experience for us. We couldn't ask for a kinder reception to the world of YouTube, and as filmmakers, you've all given us the chance to share our stories with you and receive an immediate response. That includes reaction videos like the 2 back-to-back Spooky Scary Sunday reactions from Corey Kenshin, which explains the massive channel growth, and of course all the samurai that helped us get there. We see YouTube as an amazing platform to share and grow our filmmaking craft, so when Corey spread the word that he loved our channel, that meant even more eyeballs for us to share our work with. But it's not just the big channels we need to thank. We have love and gratitude for everyone who has shared our work and noticed us from the very beginning. And just to name a few reaction channels we've grown to love, Sierra Harris, Ray Ray, Dan X Machina, Marchio Productions, and so many more. To all of you, thank you. Okay, so here's how we made Klown Skool. First, let's discuss how the story came about. Earlier this year, right before the world shut down, Vic and I shot a feature-length movie called Val. We actually wrapped filming about 3 days before the official lockdown, which is just crazy to think about. Anyway, we purchased this old TV on Craigslist for the movie, and then we wrapped, and the TV sat in our driveway collecting spiders for 5 months. Since we've been spending our time in quarantine making one scary short film after another, we wanted to use the TV console one more time before we just gave it away. The story went through several iterations over the last couple months. One of the first ideas we came up with was something similar to The Ring, about a girl who is cursed and trapped inside the TV, and then haunts anyone that turns it on. But we felt that that was just too obvious and cliche, so after a lot of back and forth and workshopping, Victoria wrote the first draft. She included the story beats we discussed over the past couple weeks, and then added the ball sewn into the hand sequence, which was a terrifying idea. I was nervous about shooting that part because I honestly wasn't sure if we would be able to pull it off. Victoria assured me that she would make it work, and after seeing what she did with the chopped off fingers in our previous film, The Necklace, I had enough faith to at least try. This is definitely an example of where taking risks as a filmmaker can lead to something cool and unique. Ask me a year ago if this is something we could have done, and I probably would have laughed and said absolutely not even worth trying. Now, I feel like I trust myself more, and I'm way more open to trying new things and stepping outside of my creative comfort zone. With that said, we might have been a bit too ambitious with the clown monster.
I was really excited to craft this monster, and from the start, I always had this vision of a giant clown head with one happy side that the actor could swivel to an angry side. Kind of like the mayor in Nightmare Before Christmas. I got started on this giant 360 papier-mâché mask, which took about a day and a half to build. But when I painted the happy side of the face, I started to worry that something wasn't quite right. I showed it to Aaron, Wes, and Valeska, and we all felt unsure. Was it scary? There was something strange about it, but we were undecided on if it was actually a scary mask. So, just to be safe, on the day of filming, I immediately started working on an alternate monster face by quickly sewing together some extra pieces of burlap fabric I had after making the body costume. I really care about these monsters we make, and so while I was a little disappointed that the original papier-mâché mask wasn't working, I didn't want to film this entire thing only to look at the footage and realize it wasn't right. Even though I think the final product looks really cool, I really wouldn't call myself handy when it comes to sewing and painting. I had Aaron lie on a giant piece of burlap fabric, and I literally just cut a shape around him to make the body. The rest is just some acrylic paint I had on hand and some black yarn I stitched jaggedly around the different places. The whole costume, head and body, cost about $29, which included 3 yards of burlap, fabric glue, the pom-poms, yarn, and 1 quilting needle.
We asked our friend Valeska if she wanted to star in this one, and luckily she said, absolutely. It was just the 4 of us on set, Valeska, Victoria, Wes, and myself. We shot the whole thing in 2 consecutive nights. We started off with what I thought was the most complicated shot, this Dolly shot right here as she walks up the stairs. Remember in the last making of video I mentioned how difficult it was to push the dolly, pull focus, and tilt at the same time? Well, I tried it. And after a grueling 30 or 40 takes, this is what we got. I screwed the fluid head from my tripod onto the slider, and it worked decently well, although my back was nearly destroyed by the end. Getting the lighting right on this one definitely took some time. Just like in our other shorts, I used an LED bulb with a couple blue gels to create that blue ambiance. Since I don't have any high-end film lights with barn doors, I took some tinfoil and used that to shape the light. That way, the blue ambiance wouldn't be diluted with all this white light, and I could also backlight the subject with a very fine-tuned, almost spotlight effect. For anyone looking to light a scene, specifically at night, I'd recommend starting off with a backlight to make the subject pop, and then move on to the fill. The fill light could be as simple as a reflector or a white piece of paper. But ultimately, I think the backlighting is what makes your shot look more professional. For this slow push-in on the TV, you could actually see my reflection on the screen. To fix this, I masked out the TV screen from another take entirely, and then superimposed that onto the screen, and added a slight Gaussian blur effect, just so that you wouldn't see my reflection. Then I added a quick cross-dissolve from the empty screen to the static screen. That way I had more control as to when the static would appear. The scene where the monster appears in the corner was done with a simple cut. Valeska would turn off the light, and then Wes would stand on a chair and get into position. I cropped the frame in half so I could make the monster appear and disappear whenever I wanted, and that's pretty much it. This is me juggling onions, by the way.
If you guys saw my handiwork in The Necklace, you already know that I like to dabble with special effects makeup. It's funny, when I'm writing these scripts and putting in these weird special effects moments, my brain is like, oh yeah, you can totally do that. Piece of cake. Even though every single special effects attempt is really just a Hail Mary. So when I wrote that Valeska would look down to see the ball was somehow stitched into her own palm, again, my brain was like, we got this. Cut to night number 2 of filming, and I'm completely out of liquid latex, so I figure I'll make a thin gelatin wound and apply it to Valeska's hand with spirit glue. I tried it. It absolutely did not work. It didn't look like actual flesh, it wouldn't stick to the spirit glue, and all around, it just sucked. In a final Hail Mary attempt, I scraped up just enough scar wax I had on hand and made a thin little flesh flap out of that. And it worked out okay. A little reddish coloring to the wound seam and some fake blood along the entry point, and it came together decently well. The point is, if you can dream it, you can do it. Believe in yourself.
The edit took about 2 days. As always, I was just hunched over my computer like a crazy person for almost 48 hours, breaking only to eat, sleep, and exercise so that my muscles didn't atrophy. The most time-consuming part was the superimposing the Klown Skool video onto the TV. Unlike our ASMR short, which was all done practically, every shot you see of the TV was added in post. I masked each clip to the shape of the TV, adjusted the tilt and swivel with a 3D bevel effect until the perspective looked right, reduced the opacity so some of the static would show through, and added some additional noise and color. As with all of our shorts, the score was done by Robot Disco Puma at his studio in Miami. He sent me a whole library of clown sounds, children laughing, creepy clown music, drones, ambiance, and a whole bunch of other noises just to keep me up at night. If there's any takeaway from this film, it's that it really never hurts to try. Especially if you're just at home with your friends. As I mentioned earlier, I think taking risks and doing things outside of your comfort zone can really pay off. And if your first clown monster doesn't work, just move forward and try again.